You know, there's a version of retirement, isn't there, where we're constantly being shown the beautiful holiday, the cruise, the restaurant lunch, what about the golf club, the spa day, the immaculate home, the garden makeover, the elegant city break, and the silver-haired couple strolling along a beach with not a care in the world. And it all looks lovely, doesn't it? But it also looks rather expensive. And the truth is that not everyone reaches their 60s with endless spare money. Not everyone has a large pension. Not everyone owns their home outright. In fact, many women that I've spoken to don't and have no way of knowing how they would ever be able to reach that kind of pinnacle of completely owning mortgage-free your own home. Not everybody, you see, is part of a comfortable couple. Or maybe they were in the past, but sadly, divorce and other things have intervened. And not everybody can fill retirement with travel, more and more shopping, more and more restaurants, hobbies and treats. And if that is you, I want you to hear this today. And that is that a meaningful life after 60 is not only available to the wealthy. Okay, so you don't have to worry, because there are lots of different ways that you can still have a very good time at 60 and beyond. You see, you don't need to spend your way into significance. You don't need a luxury lifestyle to have a rich life. And you do not need constant holidays to feel alive. And in my view, if you constantly need holidays to feel great about yourself, then maybe you need to do some self-reflection. You do not need expensive hobbies to remain interesting either. And you do not need to compare your life with someone else's highlight reel. Because the real question after 60 is not, well, how much can I afford to do? The better question, to ask yourself is, what actually makes me feel alive, connected, useful, visible, and proud of my life now? That question changes everything, doesn't it? Because when we talk about life after 60, we often talk about money. I watch many videos on YouTube, and many women over 50, over 60 are obsessed with having a glamorous, luxurious lifestyle. And that seems to be all they talk about. But that's not available to everyone. And of course, money does matter. Let's not pretend that it doesn't. Money does give you choice. Money can reduce stress. Money can open doors. Of course, money can make life easier. But here's the thing. Money is not the same as meaning, is it? And plenty of people with money still feel lonely, invisible, bored, irrelevant, or lost. I can absolutely guarantee you that that is true. So, if you do not have unlimited funds, for all sorts of reasons and things that may have occurred during your life's journey, please do not assume that your next chapter has to be small. It may need to be thoughtful, it may need to be creative, and it certainly may need to be planned, but it does not have to be beige. It does not have to be empty, and it certainly does not have to be over. A rich life after 60 can be built from things that do not cost very much at all. So what are these? What are these things? Well, things that I have found out for myself are things like connection, confidence, curiosity, where we then learn so much, where we start to look at things that perhaps we were never interested in before. A good dose, not just of contribution, but creativity, movement, purpose, style, conversation, and community. Now, these are not luxuries, are they? But they are lifelines for many, many people. And they are available in ways that do not always require a large bank balance. That's the good news. Let's start with connection. Now, one of the biggest dangers after 60 is not simply having less money. Okay, that is a drawback. But the issue really is becoming isolated. If work has ended, if family are busy, if friendships have changed, moved away, if you're single, widowed, divorced, living alone, the days can become very quiet. And when the days are quiet, that's exactly when, unfortunately, your confidence can shrink. So, one of the most important investments that you can make, well, it's not financial, it's social. Make one regular connection part of your week, okay? So make one regular connection part of your week. And that can be a new person, a coffee, a walk, a phone call, a local group, a class where you learn something new as well as meeting others, maybe a volunteering shift, a community event, a library talk, a walking group, a church group, if that's for you, a book club, something where you are expected, seen, and this is most important, you become part of their rhythm, and that regular event becomes part of your rhythm too. Because being recognised really matters, and it matters so much when we get to 55, 60 and beyond. Having someone say to you, actually, it's lovely to see you, that really matters, doesn't it? And for many women, that will really lift their spirits, particularly if they live on their own. Walking into a room, you see, where people know your name also really matters. It matters to you as well as to them. And that is part of what I call significance. Then there is, of course, curiosity as well. Now, curiosity can keep a woman alive from the inside, because we are curious, aren't we, by nature as women, and probably a little bit nosy as well. And you can learn without spending a fortune. There are still libraries around, but also obviously online. A whole plethora these days of podcasts, YouTube, like you're looking at me now, free lectures, community centres, online talks, local museums, affordable adult education is still out there, books, discussion groups. So when you stop and pause and think about it, you don't really need to enroll in something grand to make your mind wake up again, and of course to make new friends. You simply need to decide that your mind still very much deserves stimulation. It does, doesn't it? And then there is what we call contribution. After 60, I found that one of the most powerful ways to feel significant is to use what you already know. You have lived, you have worked, and you have managed, you have survived, adapted, solved issues, supported, built, learned things, endured. And all those words have a value. And we can wrap it up really as wisdom, and wisdom has value. And contribution does not always have to look like a formal job. Let's get the formal job really out of the conversation. It could be mentoring, couldn't it? I do that. It can be volunteering. I've done that in the past. It can be helping a local cause, maybe supporting younger women through your skills, expertise, knowledge, and experience, and so on. What about joining a committee? Again, that doesn't always float everybody's boat, and it does depend to some extent on your background, but there are things out there if you explore them. You could help regularly at events. You could offer your experience to a community group now and again, give a talk. You can be the calm, wise voice in a room, and that is priceless. You do not need a title to contribute, and you do not need to be paid to be valuable. Although, let me be clear, if you want to be paid for your skills, you are allowed to want that too. And then there's creativity. Creativity is not just about painting or writing, although obviously it can be. Creativity is how you make your life feel like yours. It may be your clothes, your home, your garden, your cooking. I don't think mine would come into that bracket, but still, your words, your music, your ideas, your way of putting things together. That's what counts. And it is very easy after 60 to become purely practical, to sort of say, what's the point? To stop making an effort, to stop adding colour, to stop expressing yourself. But expression matters, style matters, beauty matters. All these things still matter. And it's not just because you have to impress anyone. You don't really at your age. But because you are still here and your life deserves your own signature on it, not anybody else's. You can add colour without spending much. A scarf, a lipstick, a rearranged room, a walk somewhere beautiful, somewhere you haven't been before, a bunch of supermarket flowers, a favourite piece of jewellery, a notebook, a playlist, a small ritual that says, I am not invisible to myself. That matters. And then there is movement, not punishment, not trying to look younger, not some exhausting regime. Movement as a way of telling your body, we are still living. A walk, a stretch, a dance in the kitchen, a swim, a gentle class, a few minutes outside every day. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to keep you connected to your own energy, because energy affects confidence. If you let your energy go, there's a big dive in confidence, I can promise you. And confidence affects how you feel and how visible you feel. So if money feels tight, I want you to shift the focus. Instead of saying, what can't I afford? Ask, what can I create? What can I join? Who can I join? What can I learn? Who can I connect with? What sort of skill have I got that I can use or develop? What routine can I build? What would make this week feel less kind of flat and uninteresting? What is one thing I can do that makes me feel like myself again? And that's a very, very important one to think about, because a meaningful life, in my view, is not just built only from big experiences. It's built from repeated small choices, small wins, the choice to get dressed and what to wear, the choice to go out rather than stay in and feel sorry for yourself, the choice to send the message rather than not, the choice to join the group rather than not, the choice to try the class, the choice to speak up, and the choice to bring colour back into your life. The choice to stop waiting for life to become exciting, because if you're going to keep just waiting, then that's really a route for disaster. Instead, start adding life back into your days. And please don't underestimate the power of small things. As long as small things are done consistently, a weekly walk with someone kind or in need, a morning routine that gives your day shape, a creative project maybe on the kitchen table, a volunteer role where people actually know your name, a library card used properly, if you can still find one, a friend you phone every Wednesday, a local place where you become a familiar face, a reason to put the lippy on. And these things may not look glamorous on social media, but we're not really interested in that anymore, are we? They can completely change how you feel about your life and how life feels to you. Because after 60, the aim is not to look as though you're living well. The aim is actually to feel alive in your own life. And that is possible without being wealthy. You may not be able to buy your way through this chapter, but you can build your way through it. You can build rhythm, you can build connection, you can build confidence, you can build friendships, you can build purpose, you can build visibility. These things are all free. You can build a life that feels dignified, interesting, stylish, and most importantly, from my perspective, I think, meaningful. And if you're sitting there thinking, but I don't even know where to start, just start very small. Choose one thing for your body, one thing for your mind, one thing for connection this week. Go out and do what I've just said. That is enough to begin. Not to fix your whole life overnight, but to interrupt what I call the drifting, getting nowhere. To remind yourself that you are not just sitting there waiting for life to happen, because nothing is going to happen if you take that route. You are participating in it, and the participation is powerful. So no, retirement does not have to be one long, expensive holiday. And no, not having lots of money does not mean your life after 50, 60 has to become dull, lonely, or beige. You are allowed to live and create a rich life in very many different but ordinary ways. You're allowed to feel significant without a luxury lifestyle. You are allowed to be stylish on a budget. And you're allowed to be socially alive without spending a fortune. You're allowed to be purposeful without a job title, which most of us won't have anymore, myself included. You're allowed to be visible without wealth. And because your significance was never meant to depend on your spending power, what it does mean is that it kind of, how can I say it? It depends on how you show up, how you connect, how you contribute, how you keep choosing life. So if this is your chapter and you're wondering how to make it meaningful without endless money, please know this. You're not excluded from joy. You're not excluded from reinvention. You're not excluded from confidence. You're not excluded from significance. You may simply need a new way of building it. And you can. One choice, one connection, one routine, one brave little step at a time. That's all it takes. So if this really does speak to you, subscribe and join me here at Sassy and Successful After 60 for more honest conversations about confidence, visibility, identity, and creating a meaningful but also joyful life after 60. Because you deserve it. Your life does not have to be expensive to be rich. And definitely tell yourself this: you are still significant. Thanks and bye for now.